Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. Today, I want to talk about the question, should I start a side hustle, business, passion project? The other day, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said to me, I'm thinking about starting, a side business. What do you think I should consider before I start it? So, the first thing I would say is why? What's the purpose behind doing this? And, you know, be completely honest. I think this is an important question to ask because in order for you to do something consistently long term, you have to have some level of purpose attached to that activity, right? So for me, I've done Grateful Living podcasts for 2 years now, and one of the major reasons why I started and I continue to do it is I lost a friend of mine to suicide, and I want to do my part in trying to help destigmatize. Um, Obviously for me, there's an emotional purpose behind it, and that's probably why I've continued to stay consistent. But it doesn't always need to be an emotional part. Um, if you want to uh, build an extra income stream, that's okay. If you want to become the biggest influencer that you can be, that's okay. I think it's just important to understand the purpose, um, so that you're guided by something. And then once you have that, based on what you said in number one, I think the next question is to ask, is your side hustle the best way to achieve that? Right? So my friend wanted to start a podcast, and one of her main motivators was creating an extra income stream. For me, in my objective opinion of building a second income source, I think there's a lot better ways to make money than starting a podcast. Um, in my opinion, starting a podcast requires years of building community, listenership, and there's no guarantee any money will ever come. Instead, I think if money is really your motivator, you may want to build a skill that's known on the market to pay for, right? So you can go on Fiverr and see, what's paying well in terms of side jobs and things like that. And you can start building that activity up, or skill up, right? So, videographers can often be paid a good hourly rate. Photographers can be paid a good hourly rate. Maybe it's worth spending 2 months building that up and then having a service that, you can readily offer. Um, with a podcast, there's not necessarily a service that you're readily offering. And again, that's just my opinion. Obviously, there's an argument to be made that maybe there's a bigger payout in, building something for 5 years and trying to build that community and then monetizing versus, doing side hustle jobs. The third thing is I would ask yourself, how much time do you have? You may laugh at this question, but I think this is something you should seriously calculate, based on your work schedule, based on your schedule, maybe with friends, with family, with, hobbies or working out, whatever. And you may look at all of it and be like, you know, I have maybe I get home from work at 6, and so from 6 to 10 I'm free, right? Then you can then look at, okay, maybe 7:30 to 8:30, one out of the 4 hours from Monday through Friday I'll dedicate to my side business, hustle, passion project, meaning I'll spend, you know, 4 hours a week working on it. Because Friday you might do something social. So Monday through Thursday. And then I think the part B to this is now think about, are you willing to sacrifice that, right? Doing 1 hour of your side hustle may mean doing one less hour of Netflix or one less hour of being available to socialize. It is a sacrifice, right? The time I've spent doing Grateful Living, prepping for guests, editing videos, conducting interviews. I probably could have joined 2 or 3 different adult sports leagues, teams, right? So I know that I'm sacrificing that time and ability to socialize and maybe have some fun to do this side passion project, right? And so I think you need to ask yourself that question. And the final question I would say is, what's your benchmark for success? Again, much like number one, be really honest with yourself. For a side business, it may be a certain revenue target. For a podcast or becoming an influencer, it may be certain follower, subscriber metric. I think this is important because at some point there will be time where you question whether it's worth doing this activity. And at that time, you need to go to your benchmark of success and say, am I, getting closer to that goal? Am I hitting that goal? Am I, making progress towards that goal, or am I not? For me, when I started the Grateful Living podcast, I had done blogs in the past, right? Where I had 3 views an article. So for me, as long as one person was listening to an episode, I was going to continue. Because I knew the impact of losing one life. So for me, as long as one person was finding value, I was going to continue. And, obviously, some might say that's, pretty low expectations or whatever. But honestly, that's why I've been able to stay consistent, because I don't put pressure on myself to be at X follower account, in this amount of time, or X number of views in this amount of time. For me, it's really, at the end of the day, obviously I'd love to grow. Obviously I'd love it for Grateful Living to be bigger. Don't get me wrong. But I go back to my fundamental benchmark of success, and I haven't failed in that. Every piece of content, audio, video, whatever, has reached one person. So I'm hitting my benchmark of success. Hope you guys found some value in this. Let me know if you have any comments or feedback in the comment section. Happy to continue the conversation. And to anybody considering a side hustle, business, passion project, in my opinion, go for it. You never know what can happen. Like I said, you heard my attitude going into Grateful Living podcast, and then 2 years later, we have over 50,000 plays. So, and it's not something I was ever imagining. As I said, I was thinking maybe 3. My blogs used to get like 3 views a post in terms of reading. So I was like, maybe I'll get 3 people listening. So, obviously I've had more of a cautious tone in 1 through 4, but I really do think, it's important to go after your dreams, and, it's scary to think that somewhere out there could have been the next Taylor Swift or, Justin Bieber or whoever that you follow, and they just never went after it, or they were fearful. So, go after it. Go after it. You never know what can happen. Hope this helps. Thanks, guys.